All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to MVP Office Hours. It's January 7th, episode number 200 and something. First episode of the new year. We're really glad you're here. We have a lot of movement happening today. So Squire is running captain on the call today, and then I will be bailing out on you at halftime. So sorry, but we trust in Squire. So, and we've got Stuart here to help out, and we've got Jake here, and we've got Chris here. So we've got some of our standards and all that good stuff. And Taco is saying hello. Did you guys all hear him? You hear him screaming at me? All right. So
hard to miss him.
I know, right?
Yeah, he wants to know you're there.
You can see, I'm so sorry. You are not welcome here. You need to stop screaming. Are we done? No. All right. So at MVP Office Hours on Twitter, you can catch up with Dale at his Twitter and my Twitter handle. Oh my goodness, Twitter handle are on the screen. And then you can also find out more about mvpofficehours.info. Our email address works, but it's not as monitored as the success community. So please, put all your comments there. Please. All right. Wow.
Should I take over?
Probably a good idea.
All right, fine. And then last couple things. Remember that the U.S. MVP office hours are the first and third Friday of the month, and MVP Portuguese is the last Thursday. And as always, you don't have to speak Portuguese, be part of it. Carlos does a great job of making sure everyone's included and understood. So, our next meeting, of course, then makes the 21st. There's your ongoing bit.ly link for registration as we move forward. And the standard rules apply. We've been doing this enough that it feels moot to do this, but welcome to all the MVPs that joined us, and a reminder that we're all MVPs at heart. So you're welcome to everybody here. We want everyone to participate. This isn't a Joy and Squire show. If you have insights, experience, just more questions, everybody get involved. Raise your hand in the chat, post your question in the comments. We keep track of everyone as best we can and try to get to everyone as soon as possible. When we get to you, you can share your screen. We want you to share your screen with two exceptions. Don't show anything in production if you can help it. We don't want that, mainly because we're recording the session. So we don't want to have perpetuity, some snapshot of your business's data. And more importantly, because we are recording, if you can't be recorded, we have to ask you to exclude yourself or just stay on mute and just be part of the team. Feel free to post anything you want in the chat. We try to keep as many of the links as possible, whether it's ideas or knowledge articles or what have you. And when you're not talking, please keep yourself on mute so that your dog or whatever is not in the background. Sorry, Joy. Community events, the Trailblazer community has done a pretty good job of putting all of these in the waffle, so you can get to any of these links from Trailblazer. But upcoming Cactus Force and Higher Ed Dreaming are both due to happen yet this month. Southeast Dreaming did get rescheduled. I think it's in August now. And then there's lots of stuff going on in the virtual world, so keep track of all that. Make sure you join all your groups and follow the appropriate docs. That all the links are here, and we post this in the success community after every session. So if you need access, they should be available. Top of mind, the days are ticking away until Salesforce is enabling MFA. That's February 1st. There is a ton of really great, easy to absorb content as far as understanding why, how. There's project timelines. There is even marketing drip campaign type stuff pre-built, so you're not flying solo or blind in this case. Jump out to the main website at security.salesforce.com/MFA, and you can download all the stuff. There's a pretty good trail. There's lots of great stuff. So, but don't get caught off guard. When MFA it becomes enabled on the 1st, you can still do your thing, but you are effectively out of compliance of the security agreement that you signed with Salesforce. So they're not going to shut you down, but they're not going to back you up if something happens. So get ahead of that right away.
Before you go on,
yep.
Squire is actually going to talk to the Chicago user group about MFA in a little bit more detail next week. And so I will put the link to that meeting in Bevy in the chat so that you guys can jump in if you want to dive into that in more detail with us next week. We're so grateful for you coming, Squire. Yay.
It might be the most dry content ever, but it's really valuable. So I hope you get some info out of it. And I'll be honest, I'm just gonna use the pre-canned stuff. So it's not gonna be anything new or exciting as far as beyond what Salesforce is already communicating. It's just gonna reinforce that. So look forward to seeing everyone. Oops. Come on, machine. Or the Resource Hall of Fame. We just like to keep track of all the links that are really, really interesting or invaluable to us. Order of execution, the data model, and the key prefix list, as well as fun stuff like the Golden Circle and Mandela effect. If you've got something that feels like the whole world should know about it, we'll add it to this list as well. And with that, we're going to kick off with a couple things from Success and from our email. Andrea, I think you got some really good answers, but I want to make sure that if you still have questions, do you want to talk about what you brought up in the Success community?
Yeah, so I basically was asking to make sure that, so we have leads get converted, pick list value is set on the lead, and we want it to come through on the account. There's also a process builder that sets that value, and they may not, what was set may be more specific than the rules within the process builder. So I just want to make sure that process builder wouldn't override what was there. And it sounds like I'm good to go as long as I put the criteria in it, so that if it's only run it if no value has already been selected.
So to clarify, the lead conversion sets it to one thing, but you've got a process that might set it to another thing, and you just don't want it to overwrite a second time.
Correct. I want the value on the lead to win.
Yeah. So and so, like you were saying, if you got the process to say if it's blank, populate it, otherwise don't. That's how you make sure of it.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what that's what I will do.
Okay.
Well, are you, when you're converting the lead, are you creating a net new account or trying to append to an existing account already in place?
Yes, both. Depends. So so the leads are coming in from HubSpot, and they may be worked by a BDR. So the value, it's a territory, and it's all very like, if the state is this, it's this. If it's this, blah. There are some exceptions that are not state specific, and they're set based on other values, and that's discovered during the lead working process. So yes, it might get converted, and the value has already been set to something else. And so I don't want that to be overwritten in either way. If it's converted or when it's, I'm sorry, the process builder is running only on account creation. So converting to an existing account is a moot point.
The conversion doesn't make any modifications to the account based on the matching or on the configuration.
And if it does, it hasn't been enough of an issue for anyone to address it. I just want to make sure that, like, so for example, if it's my favorite account, whatever, even though it's Illinois and would normally be Midwest, if its territory is already favorite on the lead, when the account is created, that favorite persists and does not get overwritten into Midwest. So as long as the lead an account is created and that value is there, and then the process builder runs, then I should be good. That's what I was working to make sure of.
You can verify in the order of execution. This is a great example of why this link is so valuable, because it'll tell you where the lead conversion versus the process builder and commits are happening. So,
right. Well, that's why I think I started looking for it. I don't remember, but so. Okay.
Keep us informed if you get an unusual response. Chris seems like he knows a lot about this. He can't wait to help you.
Cool.
All right. Thank you. Matt, you emailed us earlier in the week and had some questions about, well, basically recommendations for a data model. Do you want to go into some detail there?
Yes, and my apologies. I'm in an airport. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on my computer for visual and phone for audio. So basically, new org. I'm standing up a new org for a new company. I have 4 different objects that all kind of appear to me to be accounts, and I'm weighing the concept of should they all be accounts with different record types, or should they be one or multiple of them be custom objects? And I just wanted to get the group's recommendation, just a little bit more color. It is going to connect to 2 other systems, NetSuite, the Oracle accounting system, and then a homemade system called eTrack that's used to actually execute the opportunities once they're closed. And both of those systems have them as 4 separate objects. And the 4 objects are property owners and properties, which are a parent and child, and then vendor companies and vendors, which are a parent and child. And so in this example, Tanger Outlets, which is a national chain, is a property owner, their parent account. There's several properties, which also seems like accounts underneath them. That's what the opportunity is directly related to. And then there's vendor companies who will service these properties that also have a parent account, and then local vendor accounts. So just, looking at the group to get your recommendations and maybe thought process on whether you'd go record types within accounts or custom objects for any or all of these. Thanks.
Who wants to jump in on this? Because Squire, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I'm Adi here. I like to give you my, because we have a complex business model just like this. And we are the one implemented the franchise model in the Salesforce. And we use the account object with the different record types with the parent-child relation. And within the childs, we have opportunities, code, CPQ, billing, and everything. And parent has the another parent. So I think high level is to use the account object with the different record types and different subtypes. Within the record type, you have a different type of the fields, like a vendor types, realtor types, like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. My gut, without obviously knowing more context here, is looking at account record types that are specific to your properties and your property owners. And because property owners typically will own 1 or more properties, right? So they would be a parent, and then your properties would be your child accounts, and your vendor companies, and you have parents to vendors. So think about how you're going to name those things, obviously. But the other thing it sounds like you're going to want to think about is opportunity record types, because it seems like your opportunities are going to be different based on who you're selling to. But then you're going to want to look at your products about changing that up too much. And then when you get further down the road, there's CPQ. So, but anyone else have any other suggestions? This data model, properties and property owners, just takes me way back to my my start with Salesforce at apartments.com, where we had management companies and properties, and we did all that same type of thing. We had
Probably the same type of thing.
Yep, management companies as the account, and then properties as the child account, but they were accounts.
So I do think there's a couple things I want to ask about, less about the data model, but more about just thought process. So my first thought is that a property owner and a property, or a vendor company and a vendor, are the same thing with a hierarchy. Granted, there's a lot more questions I'd want to ask, but it doesn't necessarily mean you've got 4 record types. It doesn't even necessarily mean that you've got more than 1 record type until we know a lot more details. One of the things that I really struggle with when I'm helping my admin team build is that we so quickly just assume a record type is the answer to what is really could just be a pick list, or it's a data point, really. Asking yourself, what is the like, why do I need multiple record types? Is it because I have filtered pick list values? Is it because I have different page layouts that I have to assign or different profile assignments? And with dynamic forms, that's even less and less of a conversation now, granted not on standard objects yet, knock on wood. But I just want to make sure that you know, if you start this conversation thinking, I got to create 4 record types, it's kind of a point of no return. So I would definitely start thinking about how owner and property or company and vendor, why they're different and why they aren't just a parent-child relationship of the same type of object, and then say, okay, I do need a very unique pick list or path or layout for these 2 types, these bigger types of property and vendor, and then you'd know more. At the end of the day, though, I think what I'm hearing everyone is agreeing is that if you're going to use accounts and you're going to use opportunities as designed, then these are all accounts and these are all opportunities. It's just a matter of understanding how you're going to best relate them.
I appreciate that. And that seems to be kind of the consistent answer. Dale kind of said the same thing via email, that he recommended accounts with record types. So I just have one small follow-up question, and I appreciate everyone's input on that. So has anyone got a way to, when you're looking at a parent account, see the related children record?
Are you
What's
in
the best way
Classic
to
or
do that?
Lightning?
Lightning.
So you've got a standard hierarchy list on the page.
Where's that at?
Just pop my org open. 1 second.
It's a small button next to the name of the account. There is a small hierarchy icon.
Yeah, it looks like a little tree, right?
I also want to say that I think there's an app exchange piece for hierarchy to visually see it too. I thought I came across something like that.
We'll look that
Say
up
more.
and drop it in the chat.
Say more about visually seeing it. Like, you want to see all of the records like a related list sort of a situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was Chris saying that, but yeah, I would love that as well.
There's a Salesforce Labs app exchange that's any record hierarchy. I'll drop it in the chat and you can browse around and see if there's anything else like it that'll do the job that you need, but definitely review what review your needs before you install anything.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think I installed that for someone and they were like, they just thought it was the most awesome thing in the world. And I was like, okay. Okay. We all need different things.
Any other thoughts on that space? Stu, I saw you go to video and then hide again. Did you have some thoughts? Or Jake, anybody else?
No, I just think it's accounts with either record types or, like you said, some type of data element to signify the difference between the 2.
And now that I'm thinking about, do you have, I think there's a interface setting that say view to be able to see that link. Does that sound right to anyone? Like, you have to, there's a thing that makes that hierarchy button light up.
I think you're right.
Let me, while we go through the next question, I'm going to do a little digging there just to make sure, but that would be the best way, because it effectively gives you like a pop-up related list of all the child records in that hierarchy and allow you to go down the path a little bit farther. So
Great. I appreciate everyone's
Yeah, it's
input on
clear.
that.
Yeah, you have to enable that hierarchy in the account settings and setup.
okay, Matt, did you hear that? Thank you, Jake.
Yep.
All right, that's awesome. And Matt, I can't say that I've seen you join in the past. If I did and missed it, I'm sorry, but it's awesome to see you today.
Thanks. I've joined a few times, but this is the first time I've really had a question for the group.
Yeah, awesome. Well, welcome back. So,
Thanks.
okay, I think next up then was Bill. Bill had some questions about a flow.
Yeah, so I use Dolores all the time, and I hit a glitch where Dolores is not going to work because of other packages and things like that. And I couldn't find any resource that showed me how to use Flow to do a Dolores rollup.
All right.
So I want to do a rollup summary. I actually it's a little more complicated. I want to do an overnight rollup summary between contact role, which is almost an object now, and contact. And basically add up a custom currency field onto the contact. So I was looking for someone like, how I did this article or something, or even like a visual of like where the lines should be drawn, and I couldn't find anything.
All right. So I love this question because we sunset all of our DLRS automations to do exactly what I think I'm hearing you say. So
Okay, great.
so what we've done is we have a process, or sorry, well, it's a trigger process now. We'll have to convert it, but so nightly it finds all records of the type that were changed in the last 24 hours.
Yep.
And then does an aggregation and an update, just like you would on a standard record update. We just have a time-based event that looks at all of them right from flow. And it works really well. The only time we have any failures is if there's a gigantic number, which in our case, we don't have a problem. I'm not sure how many you're dealing with.
I'm not too worried about that. I mean, does Flow kind of handle batching automatically? I think I'm not gonna have a problem anyway in that case, because like you said, I'm only gonna look at the ones that there's something happened.
Yeah.
Right.
And actually, if I can make a recommendation, if you were to go down that path, rather than querying for anything that changed in the last day, I would recommend having a process that already does something like on change, did one of the things change that would tell me that I need to update everything to tonight and have it like a checkbox?
Yep. I kind of already got that. There's already a built-in roll-up.
Yeah, perfect.
And it's probably the problem. So can you send me a screenshot? Because I think that's all I need. I just don't know. I don't know where, because it's a loop within a loop, kind of, right? Because it's like,
Yeah, so
I got to pull all the
iterate
contact
twice, right?
roles. I got to pull the contacts. I got to apply them, and I got to loop them to count them up, right? And put them in variables.
Yeah,
So I understand the concept. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we can. Let's see here. I feel like I've seen a demo of this on official. Let me look at that really quick.
Okay. Because otherwise, if someone wants to write an article, this is a really prime one.
Anybody else dealt with this sort of thing and done it differently or similarly with more detail?
Sorry, I was a little zoned out there for a second, but it's definitely possible. I think you, like what I would do is probably like get the collection of whatever you want to sum up or add up or total up, do a loop with an assignment in it, and then write the assignment variable back to your parent object at the end of the loop. I don't know if that's what you just said, Squire, but
I think that's what I just said too. I've never done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could set up a time. I could walk you through it sometime.
Oh, I'd love that. Sorry, you helped me last time and I had a really weird one.
Yeah, I feel like nonprofit, we stick together, right?
And you didn't share the really weird one with us?
I can't remember what it was. It was something like about a package that no one uses. Like,
Was it a nonprofit specific package?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was like iWave or something like that.
Good stuff.
It's like nonprofit research, like wealth research or something.
Jake just posted up a link for you to get started. So count the number of records in a record collection variable. Jake, you're super fast with your Googles.
Yeah.
Just super
Keywords.
fast.
It's all about the keywords.
Keywords. It's all about those fast fingers. I'm amazed. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I've done this multiple times.
Why is it so hard then? If everyone has to do it multiple times, why is it so hard?
It's not hard.
No, I meant
No,
like,
not
why
for me.
isn't it like easier for the rest of us to do it the first time?
Great question.
Does that help, Bill?
I think so.
Okay, fantastic.
Keep us updated. Come back and show us what you did. You can teach us
Well,
all.
definitely.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Melissa, you're up next, I think. You still with us? I see you muted.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yep. Awesome.
So I don't know if I'll be able to see anything you're sharing, but my connection is absolutely horrible today. We've got someone coming to work on it Tuesday. Unfortunately, that's the earliest. Anyway, So I've been trying to work on a flow, process builder workflow, anything that I can get to work where it's a case comment notification only for one record type of case. I thought this would be fairly simple. I found lots of answers. Nothing is working for me. So any ideas you guys have would be great.
Case comment is special.
Yes.
And I
And
think it's
there
because it's
is
a
a case
blob, right?
comment
Because it's too big.
object as well.
It's a special little thing, and I'm trying to. I ran into an issue with that. Someone's like, I keep typing in this and it disappears. I was like- I had to kind of explain how that worked. They're like, oh.
So are you trying to send out a notification when a case comment gets created?
Every time a new case comment comes in, yes, it's email to case. So it's really the case comment will be an email reply from the customer. And the problem isn't getting the case comment notification, it's getting it to work only for one record type.
Because
Like, I can
it's
figure
all or
out
nothing,
the rest.
right?
Yeah, because you can't pull the record type of the case onto the case comment, correct?
Not that I'm figuring out. I mean, like I think the case, the parent case, because each one's a new case. So I think the parent case is where that record type lives. I've tried it both with the case comment, which is the new case coming in, and I've tried it with the parent case. And both ways, I'm not able to get it to work. Like it won't even let me put that in as an option. Every time I try it, the formula won't let me do anything. And may I
That-
just say that I love that I stump you guys because I really try hard before I ask.
Yeah, I want to say in the past, when I think I've had to do this before, I actually had to push the notification to the case and then trigger it off the case to send the notification. It was not pretty. So like I had a variable field on the case that I would push the comments to, and then when it met the criteria on the case, then it would fire that comment off. So basically the comment is changed in the record because then it would send off the comment. Because you can't get, like you said, you can't get any of the stuff on the case comment because it's a special object.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was doing. I was using an extra field just for that.
It's not fully functional. I mean, are you using case comments for anything else, like community or experience site or anything like that, or are you just using purely just these standard case comments?
Just for standard cases, omni-channel stuff.
Yeah.
Who are you notifying? The whole world or someone specific?
What's that?
Who are you notifying when you make one of these things come in? Is it the case owner or somebody else?
The case owner.
Because there's already, I thought, just a native like notify owner of case updates checkbox built into service, I thought.
There is, but it's not allowing me to do it only for this type of case, and we need to roll it back to that.
Oh, so it's not every update for every owner, it's specific to that. Okay, I'm sorry, you said that, sorry.
So
No, that's okay.
So I just while we were talking, Jake, your solution is similar to something that Simply SFDC put up in 2014 about creating another field to update to send email alerts for case comments. What so I put the link in the chat or I put it everywhere. So
and I think I've tried that one.
I mean,
okay.
So you can also just emulate it with a custom object. And then you get all of the full functioning aspects of an object then. I'm not always one to say reproduce things on Salesforce, but when they don't give you a fully functioning object, it's hard to do things with a non-functioning object.
Half functioning. It doesn't, they didn't realize that they needed all the objects to function for all of us all the same way. So friends, I've got to run. I will catch you on the flip side the next time. Squire, you good?
As good as I'm gonna be. I got great people on the call to help. We'll do
yeah, you do. I'll pop back in if my call goes south.
All right.
Thanks, Joy.
Bye.
So based on what Jake gave you in that link that Joy posted, do you think you have a way to move forward? Do you want to talk about it a little bit more?
Let's keep talking about it. I'm pretty sure I've already done that one.
Okay. So I have to agree, Jake. I mean, I hate the idea of replicating an object just to get a feature that should work, but it doesn't. From you're one of the people I know knows service as well as anybody. I mean, other thoughts? Is that really the best way that you can see this happening?
Are you able to trigger a flow off of a case comment? I don't remember if that's one of the triggering, if that's an object you can trigger off of. You maybe do like a flow if you can trigger off a case comment to go do a query to see what the associated case is, and then trigger email notification off of that in a flow.
Almost like because you can do something similar with like file relationships. If the file details change, even though you're not triggering on the file, you can make it think the file changed. Kind of the same idea there.
Yeah, because I know you could probably do this with code too if you really wanted to. Yeah, if you can do record.
You can start with a case comment and flow.
Yeah, as long as you can query to go find the associated case for the comment, you could probably trigger everything to fire in that flow to send the email out.
So I probably have no choice but to do a flow, right?
Well, you want to do a flow anyway.
Yeah.
I know. It's just that time-wise, I struggle with flows still. I'm still kind of new to them. I've done a few simple ones, but this one's definitely not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, but you may not be able to do this. Actually, another thing, you could have done this with a workflow too and all that. You could trigger it, but you weren't able to reference, I don't think, the case for it.
Yeah, my problem with doing it as a workflow, and I believe as process builder also, is that I couldn't choose the record type.
Yeah.
So
let's
talk about that specifically, because I feel like that's when you say you couldn't choose the record type, is it because you just weren't able to access that field, or you weren't able to access it from where you were starting the flow?
I was able to put the field in a formula to choose that as a criteria,
okay.
But no matter what I did, it would not accept it. And I felt like the formula that I was doing was correct, and I tried several different things. I don't think it was a formula problem.
And when you say what the formula being, you're just checking if the record type ID is equal to X or something like that?
I was trying to get the formula or any criteria to choose that a case comment was new or is changed. A case comment is changed, which isn't always, you're not always able to do that either. Or my other field, if that one was changed when I used a different field, or if that field was today, if I used a date field, and then also the record type. So like I could do one is changed, but I couldn't do it is changed plus the record type.
So yeah, so you'd probably have, so if I'm hearing what you're saying, and please everyone jump in. So if you start with the case comment and you're just seeing if that changed, that won't trigger your event. But now you have to go up to the parent case and say, okay, this is related to a case. Is it a record type? Like you have to make another decision. It's not your entry decision. It's a decision in the flow itself, because you're not at the event like starting point.
Yeah.
And so when you did that, you still weren't able to access the case comment?
I wasn't doing it with the flow. So I wasn't able to with the workflow for sure.
Yeah, because that one stays at the record of initiation, so you can't even propagate, I don't think, very well. You might be able to do dot relationships, but that can be pretty tricky. Are you, I know you said, I think you said you're only on your phone right now, right?
Yeah, I'm only on my phone. I can see the video at the moment, but I'm going in and out.
Okay.
I found,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in Process Builder, I'm not as familiar with case comments, but in Process Builder, when you're setting up your criteria node, if you go to the field selector and you click case comment and you click parent ID, which I assume is the
Mhm.
parent case,
Mhm,
you should then be able to say record ID
mhm.
and go from there to record name and then
Mm.
type in whatever record name you want to do and use that as one of your criteria for that node. And then add a row to also say is new or whatever. So I think you
Mhm.
could add the case record type to your criteria node if you wanted to in Process Builder.
Okay, I'll try that again. That might have been, maybe I didn't go deep enough there.
Yeah, it's like several layers up.
Yeah,
And I came across, and I'm sure you probably have seen this, but a help article says send the most recent case comment as an email. And I'm wondering if
Mhm.
somehow you can use that and then access
is that the one,
Go ahead. Yeah.
sorry, is that the one that shows a long text field as the case comment? They say to add a long text field and have that insert your case comment so it can be sent by email.
I'm looking. It might be. And you're launching your process builder workflow. You're launching it from the case comment object.
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
I've tried it both ways.
Okay. I'll just post it in here and just in case.
Okay.
But
That'd be
I'm
great.
certain you may have came across this if you've done your time looking.
Why are you able to add that there?
Yep.
Great.
Try and move now.
Yeah.
Oops, darn it.
That way I can come back to it.
Although if I was capable at all of doing things like cutting and pasting, I'd be better at this. But yes, we'll definitely get this in. So
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like the email will appear in the case comments related list, but not in the feed by default. A custom feed action has to be created to make it appear there if wanted.
Yeah. I'll check that again in case that's not one that I was looking at. I'm pretty sure it was, but I'll go back and look and maybe I can do something a little different. So this gives me a couple different things to try that I may have not quite tried before, so that's helpful. Thank you.
please keep us posted. This is probably going to affect more than just you when we're done. So
Yeah, I'm sure if I'm having struggles with this, then other people have too, because I can usually find everything I need.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Okay. Where Jackie, you had said that you wanted to talk a little bit about MFA.
I do. I've got some just very specific questions. The most recent one that just came to light because we're starting to play with this is it the expected behavior that you would authenticate every time you log into Salesforce? Meaning you're using this every day. I mean, logically to me, it's that yes, because otherwise somebody could have your user ID and password and you wouldn't know it. So I'm seeing Chris shake his head yes.
Yeah, every time you where you would normally be just putting in your username and password, you also have to authenticate in.
Okay, that's what I thought, and that made sense to me. Somebody was asking me about it, so I started to second guess myself. Second question.
Hold on. One caveat there though. You can, once you've got your authenticators in place, you can then run reports against your IP ranges and set safe IP ranges against your authenticator. So you don't have to do it every time. You can just have it scheduled like monthly, it asks you, or anytime you're outside of the IP. Otherwise, it could be pretty disruptive. So there's a way to work around that to have
Okay.
safe login ranges.
Okay, and what are the other choices for scheduling that authenticator to kick off? You said monthly. Are there other options?
It depends on your authenticator. I believe
Okay.
Salesforce authenticator, I think it automatically asks you every 30 days, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
So authenticator dependent. Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
My second question is, in the documentation that I read, I think there are 3 approved authenticators: Salesforce Authenticator, Google Authenticator, and something called Authy. I am hearing people say that you can use Duo.
There's lots. Those are just the ones that are recommended in the documentation. Any MFA tool can be used. There's, YubiKeys, Microsoft Authenticator. The list goes on and on and on.
So it truly is any authenticator can be used. It doesn't, there does not have to be a relationship with Salesforce in order to use it.
I'd be hard pressed to say any, but most.
Okay, so almost any.
Yeah, you
'Cause I'm
mentioned
sure
Duo.
there's-
You
Sorry, go
mentioned
ahead.
Duo. I'm sorry, overstep. You mentioned Duo. We internally here have people using Duo to authenticate into our production environments for other tools. But yeah, we're using
Okay.
Duo and the applicator. Yeah.
Okay.
Salesforce.
My
I think
last question.
Salesforce's list is just the list that they probably do have some sort of relationship to, so they're going to start you there if you don't already have one built in, but the list is long.
Okay. All right. My last question. I have a client who built, they have a web-based application that talks to Salesforce. They are using an individual's credentials instead of a dedicated integration user. They are not using credentials. They are using a token to, run the APIs back and forth. My question is, because they're not using credentials, username and password, it sounds like to me they're not using the token that is linked to credentials, and they're using a token that somehow generated some other way in the developer world that I am not privy to. Is that true?
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's a lot more questions there. If you have a connected app or a auth provider that is connected to your integration, then it doesn't use a username password at all. There's a secondary, there's a client key and a client secret, or maybe they're using an IDP that's secondary to the integration portal that's actually reverse. There's a lot of questions there. But if they're not asked for a username password, or like that allow pop-up that you get in Workbench or whatever, then they're using a secondary tool, probably a connected app. But
Okay, so then I would not have to worry about MFA for that particular connection.
you shouldn't have to, but obviously you don't know what's under the covers until it rears its ugly head, so you'd want to test
Right.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how do you? It's hard to test too until it's like enforced, right?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing I can recommend is if you've got the ability to integrate to a sandbox, turn on MFA for the whole org and just see if the integration works. You'll know pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought, and I could be wrong, my understanding from a simplistic way is unless they're logging into the Salesforce UI itself, you should be okay.
That was my understanding, because I feel like I asked about it at some point, because we have a user, like basically we have integration set up with like marketing tools, and someone said like if it's just calling through the API, even though it's a credential, like a credentialed user, that would be okay. So like the API logins should not require MFA, is what I remember being told.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping.
We activated in our sandbox multi-factor authentication. All our integrations are going without any issues. And we have a connected app. We have the signed users check-ins and everything. So yeah, I think it should be fine. Non-UI would be okay.
Super.
The thing that I've heard people saying is kind of the surprise or the aha moment especially with an integration is sometimes if you're using a middleware like in Azure or I don't think MuleSoft does this, but like some tools, when you build the app on the integration side, you actually authenticate back to Salesforce and you create like a relationship there. It's actually a username password authentication at the integration at the middleware. And even though from the Salesforce side, it feels like it's free and clear, there's actually a layer that you don't even know about that could throw an error the next time they refresh. So that's why you want to really test the waters, because in a sandbox, they would have to authenticate the first time you create that new sandbox to get the app to connect. And then you'd know right away, like, oh yeah, someone's doing something, in operations that I didn't even know was happening. That would be that would be one exception, but otherwise everybody else is spot on. I agree.
And then if we run into any of these issues, we can just back out by removing the permission set.
Correct.
I mean, is there anything else that we need to know to, okay.
I mean, I think.
All right. So
there's lots of things, right? I mean, but yeah, I think you're on the right track, especially if you've gone through the the doc that, you know, walks, there's the, which one is it? It's like the how to roll out. There's a whole section on non-password like access, and it should cover all the things you should be aware of.
Okay. All right. It just seemed like the information was like so bloated for something that seems so easy. And I was questioning everything. I'm like, this doesn't seem to be that difficult. What am I missing? So, okay, I will go back through it one more time, but you guys have answered my question. So I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. And I will try to attend your Chicago rundown so that I
All
can
right.
learn more. Thank you. Appreciate it. I needed that today.
Nice to see you.
You too.
I believe that leaves us with Melina, if I said that correctly.
Yes, Milena.
Go ahead.
Hi, so I have a question about, so it seems simple, but I can't find the answer to it. So there is, when we try to send email, when we go to account, and under the account there is the activity history, and then under that area you can send email from there. And that email will be linked to that account automatically. So when I open the window to send the email, and when I start typing the contact in the to field, the contact suggestions pop up from our database, but the secondary field on those contact suggestions is email address. So in our organization, we have contacts that can be entered in a database multiple times because they belong to multiple accounts. So, so for me right now, there is no way to know which one am I picking. It may be the same email address, but I want to relate it to a specific contact that's related to a specific account. Is that clear as a question? So I guess I would like to, instead of email, I would like to display the account as a secondary field, and I couldn't find a way to do it. I did try changing the layout for contact point email to show, you know, sometimes when you, usually on like Einstein search or some other search, like when you change the first field in the layout will be the one that displays. Right, and I tried changing the parent to be the first field in this layout for contact point email, but it's still not displaying the parent, it's just displaying the email address.
So you're referring to the little, like the field underneath when you select like a contact, that's what you're referring to?
Yes. So like the to field when I need to enter the email address. So I start typing the contact and Salesforce gives me back the suggestions, you know, of contacts in my database.
So not the related to, it's really the email address, like the to field or the CC field, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, that field.
No, you're talking about like when you're looking up the contact, right?
Yeah, looking up the contact, but it's not the same lookup as we have contact lookup within Salesforce in many places. So like under the job, you have a contact, right? So when I look up that contact, the field, the secondary field is account. So for contact itself, the secondary field is account anywhere. But when I'm looking the contact within email compose, that's not the case.
Yep. Yeah, this is something we've dealt with too. I'm curious how to fix it. I mean, keeping in mind that you're not actually doing a contact search when you do that, because you can send to any email address. It doesn't have to be a contact in the system. It's just trying to help you find who you're looking for the relationship piece of it. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure. I was going to look while we talk. Are you able to configure that search pop-up in the email settings like you can for like the search return of a record? I'm not honestly sure.
I mean, I don't know. Not sure what you're asking me. I had a screenshot online that shows exactly what I'm, pointing to. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I paste it. Will it show here?
No, you'd actually have to do a screen share to be able to show us what you've got.
Okay, so I can do that.
Okay.
Let me see.
So we have a contact, the exact same contact created multiple times, placed into different accounts. Is that what we're saying? Okay.
Okay, am I share? What do you see? Am I sharing my screen?
No, not yet. It looks like it's still just showing our screenshot. Let me double check.
Squire,
that.
I think you have to stop sharing on your side.
Right, let's see what happens. There we go. You're so smart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're seeing the success community right now.
Okay, okay, good, good. So that's the one I want to share. So if I go to my account, let's say, and this is, I'm in the account, I'm in activity history, I'm sending email. This is the email compose window that pops up. So I'm just going to maximize it here. If I try to type my contact, you will see that Lisa Jones here appears 5 times, right?
Yep.
There is no way for me to know which account each of these Lisa Jones belongs to. And, depending on what email is, I want to relate it to one of those accounts because it can relate to one client or another client or third client. So depending on that, I just need to know which Lisa Jones I'm sending. Even though it's the same person, in my records, I want it to be registered under the Lisa Jones that relates to a specific account.
I think this is the standard Lightning component. I'm not sure it can be customized. But there might be a different email component. It's on App Exchange. I don't know. That's
To just change the completely, I think I know that there is possible to just customize this email window in a way to do that, but I was hoping there is something easier that takes less work and less money to do.
yeah.
Let's see here. So those little individual card components, I don't believe they're tied to a compact layout, but I feel like there's a way to customize what that looks like.
Yeah, and so what I did was that it's called, what is it called? I mentioned it here. Contact point email is that specific. I believe that's the specific field. So I did go and in our settings, let me find it and I'll show you what I did.
Like in the search layouts, is that where you were at?
So if I go to contact point email and then I go, in search layouts, if I go to default layout, right, I did make the parent the top field, but when I save that, it's still is right. So it's just not showing it. So I know on other layouts, the first field that's up there will be the one that displays in the search, but in this case, that's not happening in this layout.
I think you should try with the compact layout instead of the Lisa name. You should put the account name first and then put the contact name and then email. I think that may show up there.
But in the compact layout,
in a contact object.
Oh, on the contact object, not on the contact point email?
No, contact object, because that is basically trying to show the contacts. So the contacts, the short way of showing that is the compact layout. I think the 4 fields, if I'm not mistaken, first 4 fields is that it controls it. Or first 2 fields, one of those.
Okay, so this one, if I do this, so you're saying here, but in this layout, here are the fields: name, title, type, account name, phone. I mean, this is completely this is the compact layout and it's completely different hierarchy. So right now it should show the title and not email address if this was what it was using to pick the secondary field.
The right track with the contact point email layout, but instead of trying the search layout, do a compact layout for that object, maybe. I don't know.
Where would I do that? I mean, I'm not.
So if you go back to the contact point email object you were looking at before.
Yeah.
And under compact layouts, if you make a new one, so clone the system default.
Yeah.
Or make a new one, whatever.
I'll clone.
and then swap the parent and email address, maybe.
Whatever for
Yeah.
email. And so what would I do here?
And where the selected fields, switch where parent there,
Current here to parent. Okay.
maybe.
I think I did that as well. I
Okay.
think I did that as well. I'm gonna try it again just because I think I did it and it just didn't work. And now I have to assign this, right?
Yeah. I think the problem here maybe is parent is the contact. It's not an account, right? Is my guess.
So is this back to, is this compact layout assignment?
Yeah, go to the assignment.
So edit assignment. Yeah, okay. So
It's worth a shot, but I don't know. if
yeah,
it'll
no,
work.
I think I already did that and then it ended up deleting because it didn't do the trick, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so now I changed that. And then when I go back here, let's refresh the whole page. I don't know if that matters.
Usually it does, yeah.
Yeah. If I tried it, I don't think it worked when I tried that.
Yeah, I'm not sure parent strikes me as the wrong, because it's like
Yeah,
the parent
it's
of the
not.
contact email. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Worth a shot, but
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing is that regardless of what you search for, you're only seeing the record name and the email field, which makes me think it's not the record compact layout, it's something else under the covers. Right? Like when she was searching for Jones, user looked just like contact in that list.
yeah, it's something in the Lightning component code that's telling it, give it a card that looks like this.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've heard, I've got a couple of answers also on the thread that I asked, and everything points to it not being possible to do, but I just wanted to see if one of you have any other ideas. But
I would definitely not lose track of the search layouts. I mean, that's the section that usually is when you're just doing a deep query.
right.
That, you know, it's not giving you the hovers or the compact layouts. It's usually in that section, but I didn't see anything in the search layouts that looked right on the contact point email, but maybe it's in activity, or maybe, you know, there's so many little pieces that all wire together into task event email in that, like under the covers. So maybe there's something there.
Okay, so you're saying to try the search layout to change on another object?
So for instance, if maybe not in contact point layout, but you know, if you're looking at, say, contact and you look at search layouts, there's a bunch of default search returns based on why you're searching. So when you do like just the standard search, and that's what that list looks like to me, is that it's a search layout, not a compact layout or a but I don't know if that's right for this. I mean, email could just be its own monster, which is what you've already dealt with.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wouldn't be bad if you haven't tried search layouts. It wouldn't be a bad idea to poke around a little bit and see if there's anything. When I was looking, I mean, when you look at that return in that list, it's interesting that it shows the name of the record, the email, and then wherever to write it knows it's opted out.
Yes, I saw that. So yeah.
Which makes me think it's looking at contact to give you that return, but because you're getting all matches, you know, so like I'm just rambling and I apologize, but like, so when you see a list of all of the same thing, that's expected behavior. But like when you see a compact list of lots of things, in this case, user and contact, that's like that's its own little container, because normally you can't get multiple objects to show up in the same search list.
Okay.
It making sense there? So like you wouldn't normally see user, and as soon as I see user and contact in the same list, it makes me think there's something else completely off the reservation that controls this. Maybe something that you can't modify, but it might not be in any of the things we're talking about. There might be like an email configuration or an address configuration thing that I was poking around for that I can't find right now. But
is there is Einstein search related to this in any way?
Maybe anybody? I mean, Einstein search from the perspective of just the global search. I don't think it. I think it uses Einstein to help shorten your list. If you send
Right.
lots of emails to Lisa, she might be at the top of your list, but I don't know if I've read anything that way.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Squire,
Yo,
it's 2:00. We're at the top
holy
of the hour.
cow!
We're
Where
done.
did the time go?
You guys
We're
were
having
like
so much
just
fun.
chugging along. I was watching the PowerPoint like grow during my meeting. I felt terrible, but I did see it like changing throughout the meeting. So you guys had a lot to talk about. So we're at the end, and so we'll see you in 2 weeks. If you've got more questions, put them into the success community. Like, we want to hear from you. Like, post them in Twitter. Like, we want to like crowdsource as much as we can, because like Squire said, it's not the Squire and Joy show. It was definitely the Squire show today, but
I had some good helpers today. Virtual high fives out there, everybody.
way to go, everybody. Way to keep it all together. We appreciate you. Dale also appreciates you all, and our little community, like very, very much. And Jackie, it was so good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's like coming home.
It was so like coming home. It was really wild, like to hear your voice. I was like, whoa, it was it was great. It was great.
Thank you. I
So-
appreciate everybody. You guys are amazing. I
All
love
right.
this
Happy
community.
New Year, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Don't forget to register. Talk about us to your friends on the Twitters and on the user group Trailblazer community. And we'll see you. We'll see you next time. See you
Giselle and
next time.
Jana, if you didn't get the answers you needed in the chat, please move them over to Success and we'll keep the conversation going there.
Jana, did you hear that? Jana? Yes. Excellent.
I did. Thank
Okay.
you. I think I have what I
Awesome.
as my issue progresses, though, I'll turn to the community if I need anything else.
We'll get you help. We'll get you help.
That's
help.
right.
You guys are the best.
All right. Bye, everybody.
you. Happy New Year, everybody.
Question for the next attendance.
Yeah.
Do I have to register again or do you?
Yep,
automatic
just the
sign up?
same
For
link.
each one? Okay, for each one I have to register. Okay,
Yes, please.
Yep.
thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Squire,
Thank you, everybody.
I didn't tell anyone my birthday was last weekend.
Oh no, and I didn't stop recording, so now they all know.
So I'll tell you.